Deep question. What
Deep question.
deep question. What does success look like to you in the professional sense?
Only in a professional
Yeah.
sense? Um, for me, success would be making enough money that I can live the lifestyle I want to live, which is not even like, it's not like I need a private jet or something like that.
Oh, do you know? I do.
No, it's humble. It's humble. It's like being able to maybe to, like, buy something at some point.
Mhm.
Like, whether like, I already have an apartment and I'll get my parents' house and everything, like, it's not like I'm gonna be homeless.
Yeah.
But I have this goal to invest in some kind of real estate at some point. So, like, that's something I couldn't afford now,
Mhm.
like, making what we make. So it's, like, a bit more than what we make now, would be nice, and then not having to work a lot to make that money, you
Mhm.
know? So, like, if I could obviously, if we didn't have same same, I'm sure I could get a job somewhere where I make enough money to be able to afford that. But that wouldn't be successful for me because then I would be working a 40-hour week,
Yeah.
like non-flexible hours. So for me, it's very tied to also the freedom of being able to take a day off randomly in the week or sleep in a day if I need it and things like that.
So like flexibility.
Yeah.
Mm.
So flexibility, not working till I'm, like, burnt out or, like, not working to the point where I feel like I don't have time to do everything else I need to do in life.
Mhm.
And then also making more than what we're making now, but, like, not astronomically more, just,
Yeah.
like, a bit more that I can afford some things I can't afford now.
Okay.
What
And
about you?
mm,
Or do you wanna ask a follow-up
I will have a
question
follow-up
first?
question
Okay.
first, and then I can talk about my view on that. My follow-up question would be, what did success look to you 5 years ago?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, probably about the same because it was the main reason I never wanted to work in an agency because for me agency life was like the way I had experienced it from hearing from other people, like anecdotally, I'd never worked in an agency except for one internship. It was like you work crazy hours, you work overtime, and you're not paid a lot.
Mm.
And I never wanted to do that. So like the jobs I was looking at as for graphic design were at private companies where I knew I wouldn't be working a lot and where I would be making an okay amount of money. It still
Mhm.
wasn't a lot for graphic design, but it was like okay.
Mhm.
And I never wanted to work full time. Like even back then I was working part-time to have time to do like personal projects. And so like when we started same, I had similar goals. Like it we obviously didn't have, like, that experience at the beginning, but my goal was always to work less and make more money.
Mhm.
Just I think that the core of my goals have always been that.
Okay. I mean, that's a good value set to have.
Yeah.
It looked a bit different for me. Um, my perspective changed, but 5 years ago, my perspectives are now very similar to yours. So we are really aligned there right now. But back then, I had a really different view on success. It had less to do with, funnily enough, less to do with money and more to do with like, yeah, I don't know, like making it, whatever that means. Yeah, like having, I don't know, having like a name in the industry. I don't know, it was like really important to me for some reason. I guess because seeing that online, seeing other people doing that kind of like made me feel like, this is like the path forward. This is kind of what you have to do, what you have to follow. And so when we started, same, my my dream was being one of the bigger agencies in the niche that we are in. Like I wanted to be like a household name,
Yeah.
that's for sure. And I guess to do that, you have to grow a team. You have to take a very traditional agency path, if you so will. And yeah, that's kind of like the linear path that I wanted to follow. And I don't think that I'm the only one in this. And I think for a lot of people, success looks like that.
I think for a lot of people, who are not in the industry, success looks like that.
Yes. I
Like,
mean, I was like very naive like back then. It's just like I had no other examples really, or no other examples that I looked up to. There were a bunch of other examples, I'm sure, but I wasn't looking in those
yeah,
directions.
they're just those ones aren't as loud and they're not
Exactly.
as yeah, as big.
Mhm.
Not even like in terms of scale, but also just in terms of presence.
Yeah.
So there wasn't an agency like ours that we could look up to as like, oh yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah.
You know what I thought back then, and this is why why I was on board with scaling. I never had this active goal to be like big agency, whatever. Like that wasn't the end goal for me. The
Yeah.
end goal for me was working less and making more money. And I thought that by scaling, we would be working less and making more money
Yeah.
because that's kind of what you're told. And I think that does work in a lot of cases, but it's like, but you have to get really big for it to be
Yeah.
at that point because we had scaled to the point where we were doing less execution work and managing people. And it wasn't necessarily less work overall, but it was like different kind of work that I didn't enjoy.
Mhm.
We would have had to scale even more to have somebody do what we were doing,
Yeah.
which was the managing the
I
people.
remember that realization came to us. We're like, "Oh shit, we need someone to manage the people now."
Yeah, and then I was like, and that could have got me to my goal, like, had we done that.
Yeah.
But then, like, financially, that wouldn't have been feasible.
I think that financially, funnily, and we scaled, and financially we were at a similar point. We were actually worse off, but because of the market crisis and stuff, economic crisis. But um, but we were still at the same point in terms of money.
Yeah.
Like we didn't really make more profit. We kind of
No.
like stayed stagnant, even though we grew. But I think that's also normal. I think that with grow first, you kind of have to find the balance again, and it takes some time until the team makes more profit.
Yeah.
So I understand that concept, but it was still kind of like, I don't know, maybe it was from a naive point of view, but I thought, okay, we're scaling the team, a lot of projects are coming in, okay, we're gonna make more money now, but it wasn't the reality of it.
Yeah, and then, like, I guess yeah, I guess because it didn't seem, like, realistic to me to reach my goal, which was work less and make more money.
Hmm.
It was also then not very enjoyable.
No, because the another point that I didn't think about when scaling is the responsibility that you have.
Yeah.
Like that was the biggest thing for me. Like I would say one of the bigger pain points. Of course, money, etc. Yeah, that was a very big pain point too. But the responsibility around having employees, it was really difficult to take. Like knowing, okay, if it doesn't go super well, then we have to look out for the employees and we can't just like pivot. We can, obviously, but you don't want to in that situation because, of course, you want to keep your team. You're not like heartless where you're like, okay, bye. Um, and finding the balance of it all and it's just pivoting becomes more and more difficult the bigger the team is. You're less flexible.
Yeah, and I think that's something a lot of people aren't transparent about too. Like, I think that a lot of people who or agencies that have scaled, like, from the outside, it seems like everything's really
Mm,
successful.
exactly.
But, like, behind the scenes, it's similar to what we were going through. And I
Yeah.
think that a lot of people associate growth with success and scaling with success. But for us, it wouldn't feel like success. Like, even before the point where we were like, financially, we need to scale back down, even before that, I didn't feel
No.
amazing about it.
No,
I
because
didn't feel
people were congratulating us left and right, but I didn't feel it. I
I
didn't
know,
feel
I
like
was like,
I was like almost awkward about it. Like, "Oh, thank you." I don't know. I felt weird having that conversation with
Yeah, and
people.
then it was even more annoying when you when we decided to scale down and I was like the happiest I'd been that whole year and like so much relief. And then you tell people about it, like, "Oh my God, that's so bad. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry." Like, and they're like, because for them, again, like scaling down means failure
Yeah.
and yeah, you must not be doing well.
Yeah.
And true, yeah, financially we weren't doing well, but like mentally,
which
I
is
felt so much better.
that's what I mean. The responsibility was lifted off of our shoulders, and we were finally able to, okay, wait a minute, what do we want to do?
Not
And
just that, but it felt like it finally felt like purposeful again.
yeah, it felt freeing.
Yeah, it was definitely freeing.
Yeah,
And I think that that's something that people do realize and they don't scale because of that. They're like, I don't want to manage people. I
yeah,
just want it to be me. Or
hmm,
like I manage like freelancers or collaborators or whatever.
yeah,
And people like that are probably, I think, would probably feel more successful than, people who were in like our position, who
yeah.
scale up and then they're like, wait a second,
Wait, did we
I
mess
don't want
up?
to do this.
Yeah, but also it comes with experience. Um, some people already know, but some people have experienced that in their employment maybe where they manage people, and when they once they turned freelancer, they knew for themselves, okay, no, I don't want to manage people. Or vice versa, they were managing people and noticed, yeah, okay, at some point I really want to manage people again. But we didn't have this experiences. We were like, okay, let's kind of like let's just do it. And then we noticed it while doing it. That the
Yeah.
learning by doing situation kind of. Um, but I think that what you already said, that growth equals success, and that shows up in like different fields, like in startups. The more you grow, the bigger you grow, the faster you grow, the more successful you look to the outside world. I don't know about the numbers, but to the outside world, it looks very successful.
That's true. And
Also,
a lot of the times they're not like, I mean, OpenAI is a good example recently.
mm,
Like their financials are really bad. And
mhm,
they're like trying to fix that now because they want to get investors and whatever.
yeah,
But if you see OpenAI from the outside, you think they must be making millions.
yeah,
But they're not.
yeah.
They're bleeding money.
Wasn't it also true for Spotify?
I mean, there's a couple of companies. Apple as well was one that was like, I don't know, at some point they went bankrupt or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
There's been a lot of companies in the past where you never would have thought that they were actually super, like, not successful financially
yeah.
because from the outside it seemed like they were growing and really big already and had a name.
Okay, I have something here. This is speaking of AI, this is the Google AI assistant. However, I was looking up the Spotify um, reports and when they started making profits.
Yeah.
Um, guess when they reported their first annual net profit.
I don't know. When were they founded?
Yeah, I mean, that's another good question. I don't know when they were founded, but I mean,
Okay, but when did they make profit then?
okay, 2024.
2024.
I mean, according to this, now I don't want to say something that's wrong because it's AI and I'm like, I don't really trust it. But I do know, I do remember that they were in the loss for a really long time and then they started making profit.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a common thing, like a lot of
Exactly.
business,
Yeah.
and that's like I thought that's what I mean, like people who are not in it don't understand what success actually
Yeah.
is because
Mm-hmm.
and the thing is, and even in Spotify's example, like even the financials are not the only thing that determines success. I think that's also a thing that people misunderstand. Like a lot of these companies out there, I would not say, I wouldn't say that OpenAI is unsuccessful just because they haven't turned a profit yet.
Yeah.
And the same with Spotify, like, I wouldn't say Spotify is unsuccessful. The fact that they still exist, like, also even, like actually, it says a lot about them if they are able to, like, be in the reds for so long and still exist and
Yeah.
continue to operate. It's actually a very successful story in my opinion, like, business-wise. But that's the thing, like, success can be so many different things.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people, especially people who are either not don't have a business or for our case specifically, don't run an agency or are not in the industry, to them, success is also these very basic things like scaling, having a team, making money, making
Mm-hmm.
profit. And if you aren't doing those things, then you can't be successful doing what you do, which is not true. Like, I think that anybody, and it's very personal as well, like one person freelancers, I'm sure a lot of them are successful.
Mm, for sure.
and not even just in a classic sense, but for them, like they feel like they are successful because they are able to live off of what they're doing. And I think for a lot of people that's enough. And
Yeah.
for me, that's also enough.
Yeah, I just really hate that the narrative online tells you like such a different story where it's like really like driven by hyper productivity, yeah, being fast, scaling, being big. I don't know, like all of these metrics. It's like
Yeah. I don't
yeah.
know if we want to go there in
No,
this episode,
I was thinking the same. Should we turn this into
but it's very male coded.
exactly.
And it reminds me of the Manosphere documentary. We can
Mm-hmm.
talk about that for a second, even though it doesn't have so much to do with the creative industry. But I think a lot of people have seen the documentary. And in the Manosphere, the men and like these online personalities that are teaching other men what it is to be a man, like what they're teaching is you have to make money, you have to be able to buy expensive cars and expensive apartments and like go on holiday, rent a private jet, like that's success.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like also like all these things about like having a lot of something, like
Mm-hmm.
the abundance of things, and then also the financials and like being really, really rich. That's success.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't reached that, you are not successful.
Yeah.
So anything less than that is just a failure, which is most people then, because it's probably everybody except for the 1% starts to feel like a failure.
Yeah.
And that's like it's like this, it is patriarchy at the end of the day, bleeds into every single like industry. And it's similar in our industry. Like all these big agencies with big teams, I mean, who is running them? It's also men. And who has made that like the goal? It's men. So it's like, yeah, just a like little sidetrack.
Little sidetrack here.
Um,
Well, we realized we don't really fit into that system.
yeah, and it's also I think that it's something people need to talk about more. Like in that documentary, if these men didn't feel like they were a failure, they would probably be much happier, right? So I think that if you change your perspective on what is success, that already makes you 10 times happier.
Yeah, it's like
Be honest with yourself about what success is too.
yeah, also like sit with yourself because I think a lot of people don't really sit with themselves and think about what success means to them. They think about what success means from a perspective of um other people inputting it into them, but less of what they actually feel like success is. I mean, that's kind
Yeah.
of where I was also like 5 years ago. I was looking what other people say that successful is, and I wanted to be that. And I didn't really think much about, okay, what would success mean to me? But since I was so screwed by those perspectives, I'm not even sure if I would have known. If I sat down there and was like really honest with myself, I don't know if I would have known back then. Just because there is so much input and just because there's so many perspectives, and as you said, the loudest ones, the ones that seem like most legit, seem to be the ones that grew that faster, like faster, stronger. I don't know,
Yeah.
like that.
And then it's also a generational thing. I mean, all these agencies are also run by or like founded by a different
Yeah.
generation. And generation like my parents' generation, the boomers, they their their success or vision of success is being able to buy like a house and
Mm.
being able to buy have kids and be able to like send them to private school or things like that. You know, like they have these goals that are also very dependent on money.
Mhm.
And so they got jobs where they then were able to afford all those things. And they were also able to afford all those things because it was a different time where,
Yeah,
you
good
know,
for
my
them.
dad's first house cost like 10,000 pounds or something ridiculous. Um, like
Amazing.
exactly. So it's like a different generation, and they're also able to reach these goals with even like without really great jobs, you would be
Yeah.
able to buy a house, you know? And I think for our generation, at least for me, when I saw like how much my parents worked and how little time they had for everything else, I just didn't want that. I was
Yeah.
like, I'd rather have less money, like still I want enough money. I also have a goal of buying a property at some point. But like for me, it's still it's the working less thing is way more important to me.
Mhm.
Like I would never I remember my mom was like so depressed because she just hated working.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was just like she was so excited to um, retire,
Mhm,
and she was so happy when she retired.
mhm.
And it's to say everyone I like everybody I talk to, their parents are always like counting the days to retire.
Yeah.
And I never wanted that to be me. I always wanted to like enjoy what I do,
Mhm,
not do it like to the point where I'm dying, and then also making enough money that I can survive and like live a good life.
mhm.
So my goals are like humble in comparison to I think what a lot of people view as success. But for
Mm.
me that would be successful, you know?
Yeah, I'm also thinking if it's, like, screwed by the US. Like, I feel like their economy, I mean, it's screwed by capitalism, sure,
Yeah.
but I feel like a lot of content creators or a lot of really big names come from the US,
Yeah.
and therefore we are kind of following their path of success or what success looks like. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
something that came to my mind right now because I was really thinking, okay, really big agencies, sure, we have a lot in Vienna, but the blueprint, where does it come from? It comes from the US.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. Like, I think also even privately, a lot of the stuff that we view as successful is like that typical
Yeah.
American dream, which doesn't exist anymore.
No.
Because we're just a different generation. And it's also interesting when you look at the younger generation, they're even more, um, let's say like, or even less motivated to work for money. And it's not even that they're lazy or something, because that's what people said about us.
Yeah.
Because we already had like these I don't know, like more expectations than just like going to work, affording your
Mhm.
house, and like getting married and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like we already had other kind of goals in life, but Gen Z is even more like, why should I go out and work if I can't afford anything?
Yeah, and that's so true.
And it's so fair. And for that, because for them, success would for them, I guess for them, it doesn't feel successful to go out and work and then make peanuts and then come home and barely be able to afford anything. And it's true, it isn't successful. And like, if you don't even go out and work, at least you have your free time, you know?
Yeah.
And for them, that feels like a success.
Yeah, I guess it's like reframing what or redefining what success means to you in a personal sense and in a professional sense, because most of the time they both go together. Um, but yeah, for us, for example, it looks like, okay, success looks like staying smaller, making enough money, of course, but at the same time being flexible enough and having a lot of free time, and combining all of that together is what success looks like for us. But maybe for someone else, it could look like, okay, they want to grow, like despite
Mm.
of knowing, okay, this is kind of like the linear path that you have to do. I actually want to do that. And
Yeah,
that's also fair.
I think it might also be different if my goals were different. Like
Yeah.
my goals are not with same same. Like my goals are with Factor right now.
Yeah.
Like I see Factor as a long-term thing that we can build on and create something more out
Yeah.
of that. So I think if we didn't have this side project, then maybe I would feel more, I don't know, excited or motivated or have different goals in terms of the agency.
Yeah.
But I think because I've kind of like the agency is like it's our like lifeline and what finances everything else. Obviously, I'm interested in keeping it going, but it's not something I see as like us doing in 20
Yeah,
years.
like growing it and that being the only baby, basically. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And I think because of that, it's like yeah, we just have other goal like or we've already reached the goal with the agency, and now it's about like sustaining that and keeping it going.
Exactly.
And now I have other goals with Factor, and that's like and there I have much bigger goals. Like and there I
Mhm.
have other ideas of what success would be with that. With Factor, for example, I am aware of the fact like the goals that we have, which we haven't like really told like the public about yet, which is why I'm going to keep it vague. But the goals that we have with Factor, I am aware that we will have to scale at some point.
Mhm.
And I'm aware that it's going to be the same thing with like employees and management and whatever. But I feel like I hope I will feel differently about it because I'm working towards like an end goal. And with same like an end goal I want to get to, whereas with same we kind of got to that point almost. I mean, yeah, okay, we could have hired a project manager and then maybe we would have gotten like a little bit further, but it still was so dependent on the core of same and running an agency is client work.
That's what I wanted to say, actually.
And
Yeah.
that's the thing that I realized I don't want to be doing this for the rest of my life.
hmm
Like, it's not that I don't like our clients or don't enjoy the work. I do enjoy the work. I just don't want to be doing it for the rest of my life.
Yeah, like if you think about it, I don't know, doing it for 30 more years.
Exactly. Like, that's where I then saw my mom, like,
Yeah.
no, like, I don't want to be that person, like, going to work and feeling like, oh, I can't wait to retire.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. I don't think that's a bad thing to do something a certain period of time and then saying like, okay, enough. I feel like
Yeah, it's like a chapter and then you
exactly,
close it.
exactly. And I think that sometimes we hold on to things too long because
Yeah.
obviously you have the sunken cost fallacy and you're like, oh, this is my baby. And I don't know, now I need to run an agency for 30 years because I started it when I was 20 something.
Yeah.
And that's not true.
And then it's also the stigma of like, if I close it, then everyone's gonna be like, oh my God, you're a failure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, I know, that's why it's like there's so much baggage, even
Yeah.
though it's like your life and you should be able the nice thing about having your own business is that you can decide
What to do with
what to
it.
do with it. And for me, it's like for me, factor is something where I feel like we're working on a product that's ours and we are the client the whole time,
Yeah.
you know, like we are the client, and that's like my dream is to be working for that's truly working for yourself,
That's
you
true.
know?
Yeah. That's the very definition of it.
Like people always joke about, yeah, I went freelance and I'm working for myself, but I have 12 bosses, you know, my
Yeah.
clients. My clients are my 12 bosses, and that's how it is. Like the client is the boss at the end of the day.
But that's the nature of this job,
Yeah.
basically. And yeah, I feel like it's totally legit to have certain chapters in life. And I really liked what you said because it's true. Like we grew it to a certain point and now we're like really eager to sustain it and not really eager to grow it further. And I feel like I'm in a really happy place right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I can see myself doing this with same. Like I think another 10 years probably. But I think at some point I want to be at a point where I'm like,
Yeah.
where
But
we can end it, would be like this going on to something new.
yeah, I agree. Like that's that's something I wouldn't have thought about like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, the end goal was to have like a big agency, yada, yada, yada. But right now, thinking about having a big agency, I'm like, no, no, no.
No, that's like nightmare for me.
Yeah, so I
Can you
wouldn't want
imagine the
that.
number of projects you would be doing? Oh my
Yeah, that's
God.
what I mean. I think that for me, this type of work is just like not sustainable.
Same, it's overwhelming.
Yeah,
Like that's why I enjoy the way we have it right now. We have a few projects at a time, a few
I
clients at
really
a
like
time.
that too.
And I
Yeah.
enjoy that. That's why it's like that's why we're still here and still doing it. But like to come back to something like Factor, which would be a product, like we're working on the first iteration of this product. And it's like, yes, there are lots of little projects going on within this product, but it's still like the whole, like at the end of the day, it's one thing that
hmm
you can focus on. You can focus your entire energy on one project. And I think that I'm just made for that more than, you know, scattering it over
Yeah.
across multiple projects at the same time.
Yeah. And the nature of it all is different. Of course, to make money, you have to find customers, but there's like it's more like I wouldn't say quality over quantity. Quantity over quality, sorry, but it's kind of like that. Whereas with client work, it's more like quality over quantity because there's just a certain amount of time that you have. You cannot scale your time.
Yeah.
That's all you have. And therefore you need to like you need to take on projects that generate more money for you. Whereas with product work, you kind of have like a price plan and the more obviously pay into that. Um,
I think what you're trying to say
thank
is that
you.
it's easier to like
Ah,
it's easier to calculate and create a plan because you do marketing and you have conversion, and then you know you spend this much on marketing, you have this much
exactly.
conversion. It's like a
Yes.
very mathematical And the funny thing is that what we're doing at Factor is trying to make creative work pricing more mathematical.
Yeah,
But it's still you're still so dependent on networking, you're so dependent on having the right niche, having the right clients. And with a product, you have like a product. If the product is good and you're able to find your market and you're able to target the right people, then that can then by spending the money to target those people, you have a return. And it's just way more like it's more mathematical and there's a lot more data on how to do that. Whereas like the nature of project work and getting project work and like leads and lead generation is just
it's a
it's so nuanced. It's such a huge thing. It's like
exactly. So even what we're
it's not easy.
no, even what we're trying with Factor, we know that not every edge case we will be able to cover.
Yeah.
Like we know that because the nature of project work, what you said, is like so nuanced that you cannot really put it into a system, even if you wanted to. And I really want to, but we can't.
Yeah, and the nature of selling products is pretty straightforward
Yeah,
in comparison.
exactly. So I just prefer the nature of that over the nature of agency work.
Yeah, me too. And I think that our skills are better in that sense because we aren't like I'm trying to become the networking type, but we aren't like naturally like that.
No, I really have to force myself. But then when I'm there, I enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think that I think I'm good at it when I am in the mood and have the energy, but it's
Mhm.
like not very consistent, you know?
Yeah,
So it's something that will be interesting to see if like we can do
yeah.
that, but it's not something I want to be doing for the rest of my life. Like when I
No,
see these big agencies who have scaled or even ones that are smaller, like the thing that they all have in common is that they network a lot. And the
yeah,
people like at the top, they're out there and they're at
yeah,
every single event. Like when you go to these events, it's always the same people.
yeah,
And they know like and they all know each other and
yeah,
they're in this ecosystem and we're not really in that ecosystem. I mean partly because our clients aren't here in Austria. And obviously it would be difficult for us to network like in the US because we'd have to go there. But yeah, so it's like I don't know, they all have like this very similar kind of energy about them.
mm.
And I feel like that's just not us. And I also don't really want to be that
Me
ever.
neither. You once said that you should work with your energy, not against your energy. And I think this rings true here as well. We're kind of like working against our energy in a sense, or where we want to put our energy. And I feel like it takes a lot of energy from me that I cannot put somewhere else. Again, whenever I do it, I at the end I enjoy it and I really like it. But the energy it takes from me is just unmatched with
Yeah.
anything else. I could probably code the whole day and that work 2 hours, it would be the same equivalent for energy spent. So I really have to be careful with the events that I choose and the networking, yeah, with the networking events that I choose. And I can only go to selected ones. If I went to every network event, I would die.
Yeah.
I will honestly die. I can't describe it in another other way. So I guess in to sum it up, it's or do you want to say something else, like some
No,
closing thoughts?
I just wanted to say like I think it's just important that you're honest with yourself about what makes sense for you when it comes to success because I think like I'm very honest with myself nowadays and I know like that I don't see myself doing what we're doing right now forever. And I don't and like a few years ago I wouldn't have realized that because
No,
I wasn't like
I
putting
wouldn't.
my energy towards that. It
Yeah.
wasn't a priority for me, you know. I had like this idea of kind of like what we're supposed to do and we're like
Mm,
going through these motions of what we're supposed to do, but it wasn't like I wasn't viewing it from like what do I actually want to be doing, you know?
yeah, me neither.
And also what's the core of the goal? Because
Or the consequences of the
well,
goal.
yeah, because when the goal was scaling and, having then 2 designers and 2 devs and then a project manager, I never really thought of why, you know?
Me neither. I was like, I wanna have this, but I
But it was never a why. And for me, like with having a product, like whether it's Factor, whether it's something else, like moving away from client work, for me, the why is I don't want to be doing client work forever. And
mm,
like, where are my skills? Like, what can I do well? And for me, like, I think that we are really good at creating products that are really usable. It's like what we do all the time. We're just doing it for clients.
Mm,
So it's like, how can we build something for ourselves where I feel really invested in it?
yeah. I mean, it kind of also satisfies the part of me where I wanna give back
Yeah.
and where I have, like, it's not really philanthropic because at some point we wanna make money with it, but right now it is. It's more like, it's a tool that people can use. It will be there for them to use for free as an asset, as a resource, and I'm always thinking back how amazing that would have been to have when we started out, and I'm so happy to be able to give back. That's
Yeah.
really a big part of me where I'm, like, also so invested because I love giving back and I love helping other people. That was also the main driver for me when I said, "Hey, let's do the podcast." It's because I really wanted to help other people.
Yeah, for me also, I think the reason why I enjoy the Factor project specifically is because it's like connected to everything we're doing.
Yeah,
Everything feels interconnected when I'm working on Factor. Whereas when I'm working on clients, it's like I'm pulled out of this like world where I feel like so involved in and I have to go do something else that's
yeah,
like for my brain is just like on the other side of the world. And then it's like there's a lot of tension between that right now because there's like, time for the personal projects, time for the client projects. And that's why like the goal or the dream, or for me now, like success would be to only have that one world where
mhm,
I'm like in it
yeah, for
100%
sure.
all
Like,
the time.
if I look at it long term, yes, 100%. Right now, short term, it's different because of the running 2 big projects, Factor and Same Same, and knowing, okay, both need to be sustained. One
Yeah.
cannot just, like, I don't know, trashed or something like that. I wouldn't also right now, I also wouldn't want it. I'm just like, "Okay, how do you find balance between the both?"
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that the closing thought is that success isn't I think success no, my closing thought is that success is extremely personal and you can like if people are honest with themselves, you would ask two people what success is and they would give you a completely
Yeah,
different answer. And I
mm,
think that when people only have that like one answer, that's like the one that, we're taught, but
yeah,
it's not necessarily true to what you actually want to be doing.
yeah. Another closing thought of mine is that success isn't linear.
Yeah, it
So it
changes.
changes because like just my example where I had a different idea of success than I have right now. And I'm pretty sure maybe in 5 years I have a different perspective on it again.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe we go all in
Mm.
on Factor and we realize we don't want to be doing that.
Exactly.
And then we change our minds and do something
But
else.
that's
That can
totally
happen.
okay. And I
Yeah.
think that's also important to note because um well, I'm really proud of us for first of all recognizing it back then that it wasn't making us happy and to actually pulling back and saying, okay, no, let's change something about it. And I think that for me is also like something I can rely on, that we're gonna change paths if we're unhappy in the path that we are on, and we are like courageous enough to just do it. And so far, I feel like it has really benefited us.
Yeah, definitely.